Three.
All right, telling it like it is here. NBA playoffs. About 12 p.m. here in the East Coast. 12 p.m. Ready to start the first playoff game between the Magic and the Cavaliers. All kinds of exciting stuff here this time of year. Um, it's a good playoff system. I think the play-in tournament, which is not the same as the playoffs, that's why it's called the play-in. So obviously we can play that up. I think it's a great idea. It makes the regular season have some juice to the end of it. And the proof of that is how some teams were as high as the 3 or got into the play-in. So you could be a couple of games removed between 8th place and 3rd place in the conference. Shows you how important these end of season games are. And maybe makes you think twice about tanking during the season or resting guys. Not tanking so much as it is load management, shall we speak. So it definitely helps with that. So you can't pull punches. The NBA with the play-in tournament has been a good idea. I like the 9-10 pressure of one and done, but it's playoff basketball, and we're here to definitely kick it off and have some fun. And I think it's going to be some good series. It should be some fun. I think there's some definite advantages to some positions. The big difference between the 1 and the 2's route in the West. OKC with a much easier potential route. Doesn't mean they'll get there than the defending champs, the Nuggets, who have a very difficult route, if you will. And then we have some disrespected teams. I know the Knicks fans here in New York feel very disrespected where they're at. But hey, it's time to prove it all, and that's okay. So you're looking at that bracket there. We'll scroll up to the top of that bracket. But a couple of things about the playing games. The Pelicans lost to the Lakers in the 7-8 game. Zion goes with 40 and 10, but has to leave with 3 minutes left. And thus there goes that game right there. And Anthony Davis played well, and they got some contributions, D'Angelo Russell and people of that nature. And the Lakers win that game and get the 7. And then the Pelicans had to go deal last night with the Kings, who they've beaten now 6 times, including the play-in this year. Just too big on the baseline. Valanciunas and Ingram finally showed up. McCollum still hasn't shown up. Sending an all points bullet now for McCollum. We're still looking for him. Thank God for Alvarado. And the Warriors should not have been in the play-in game, but Draymond Green's selfishness, already on a podcast yesterday, a day or two after losing, you think he'd be a little bit more reflective about it. But here's a guy who missed 20 games because of behavior, and they wouldn't have been in the play-in game, probably, or definitely actually, if Draymond knew how to do some things. So now everybody's screaming about Clay and what we're going to do with Clay Thompson. I said, what are you going to do with Draymond Green? I try to get something for him before he becomes totally invaluable, because he's never going to handle the fact that, as he starts to trend downward here. State of the NBA before we go to the Eastern Conference playing games. Think about it. All the best players in the NBA right now are foreign players, with the exception maybe of Edwards is on the way up. Him and Brunson are on the way up. The rest of the guys, the better players, all foreigners. So much so that we don't have a center for the USA Olympic team. It's quite disturbing, and that's attributed to the style of basketball and the fact that in AAU basketball now we practice maybe once a week, never with a full team, and play 3 or 4 times a week. So whereas in Europe and other places they're going over fundamentals and things of that nature. So American basketball in the crapper as far as that's concerned. And we're not clearly the best. And that's why I always say today's players aren't as good as yesterday's players. The fundamentals are off, and the commitment is off, the whole thing. But we still love basketball, so we watch it anyway. Some other things, the playing game, the Heat, were beating basically the Sixers the whole night until the Sixers got hot at the end. Jimmy gets hurt, wasn't moving too well. The Sixers pull through, and Embiid hits a couple of jump shots. I would never give him a jump shot. If you crowd him right now, he can't move. And then last night, the Heat thumped the Bulls, who were playing still without Zach. The Bulls did a great job to even get there. And the Heat show you how good a coach Spoelstra is, and Jaime Jaquez is doing a great job So they advance. Before that, the Hawks got drubbed by the Bulls, and I tell you that Trae Young's best years are way behind him, and no one wants to hear that on the basketball websites. But they are. Trae Young hasn't changed his body, hasn't gotten any better. Volume shooter, can't guard. I don't understand that Hawks team is very talented, and they're the 10 seed, and they just look awful. We have seen people from the play-in tournament go to the NBA Finals, so obviously you can do it. It's only one or two extra games in some cases, depending on if you capitalize right away. If you're in that 7-8 game, it's only one game. When we get to the MVP race, this year we've had more guys average 30 than in many years, which again throws to the theme of American basketball and no defense. And that's why we see in the playoffs, as we get to the biggest issue every year, as we say, I'm telling it like it is, the number one issue in the NBA is the amount of injuries. No sport has more injuries in their playoffs than the NBA. Football has some, but nothing like this. This is crazy. We're already missing Butler. We're already missing Zion. They both say they're back in a couple of weeks. Maybe Giannis also, but they might not be here in a couple of weeks. We're also Embiid is banged up. Randall's out. He's not even playing. Zach was out, but they're not even playing. But and in the NBA playoffs, we're going to get more guys injured because of situations where you can't do load management, play no defense all year long, switch every screen at the foul line at the top of the key, and then all of a sudden try to play defense. And all of a sudden the urgency in the legs and the cuts, it's just not the same situation, and it's not going to work out when you're doing that. So we have the massive amount of injuries as we go forward here. Like I said, no Zion, and then of course Kawhi Leonard looks like he's banged up. Giannis going to be banged up. Cat is banged up for the T-Wolves. Like I said, Embiid, no Randall, but Randall's not because of the playoffs. Giannis definitely banged up. Heat, no Jimmy Butler. So here we are already before we even tip off the first game, and we have a tough situation already. But MVP race, it's gonna be crazy. Luka, like 32, 9 and 9, just insane numbers. Giannis, 31, like 12 and 8. These are just insane numbers. They're gonna get votes for MVP. Jalen Brunson has to get some votes for MVP. Just carrying the Knicks to the 2 seed. They haven't been the 2 seed in forever. Such a great situation for the Knicks here. I'm telling like it is. We're very proud of them here in New York. It's gonna be exciting at 6 o'clock tonight. Some other guys in the MVP race. I guess you could say the big fella Joker has had a excellent year, and it's just, and then of course Gilgeous-Alexander's had a great year. So 30, averaging 30 points a game and getting his team to the 1 seed. So I wouldn't have a problem with all five. I know Brunson's not going to get it. I don't think Giannis will get it, but definitely Doncic could get it, Alexander could get it, or Joker could get it. And wow, it's tough. Luka doesn't play any defense, so maybe he would be taken into consideration, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't really care about as much about that, but it's good for bragging rights. So let's start here. Thunder Pelicans. I think that this should be a fun series. The Thunder and the Pelicans will be very good. OKC with that 1 seed, have some good depth. They got Chet and they got Alexander. They got Gafford. They got some good players on this team. When you get right down to it, I just don't think the Pelicans without Zion can get this done. I really don't. I don't see how they do it. I feel like this would have been a very fun series for the NBA to showcase young talent. Even Alexander's not that young. He has come along, and that's why you need patience with these guards. The only thing that jumps off the page at you statistically here, obviously, OKC averaging 5 more points a game than the Pelicans, and the Pels without Zion, I just don't think it's going to happen. The assists and the steals are exactly the same. 2 more blocks a game for the Thunder, and that comes from obviously guys like Chet, who average 2.3 blocks a game with that length. That's insane. Almost shooting 50% for the year, the Thunder. That is incredible. That's such a monumental achievement. The 3-point percentage is almost even. But again, the Thunder, 82.5 from the free throw line. Alexander averaging 6 assists and basically 30 points a game. So he's having a hell of a year. Valanciunas takes up space better than you think. 8.8 rebounds, 1 block, obviously. Brandon Ingram, 5.7 assists, leading his team in assists. They just lack a point guard, but that's where Alvarado's got to come in. He's got to step up. But to replace Zion, I just don't see how you do that. Like I said, McCollum would really have to step up. I have this maybe going 5 or maybe 6. I don't really like the 6 because they always give the home team the benefit of the doubt and desperation at home. But unless they're just not as good, I feel this is a 5 or 6 game series. And again, We could have more injuries in these series, and that's why these championship teams who have championship aspirations need to wrap up their games as early as possible, because an extra game just means an ankle here or a shoulder there, or it's just a long grind. And we go all the way till June. It's a little bit more than halfway through the middle of April here. It's April 20th. So it's a difficult situation, but I got the Thunder in 5 at this point, as we'll stick to the Western Conference here, and we'll scroll down here. Clips and the Mavs. This is perhaps one of the most interesting series. There's so much depth on the perimeter that you could try to throw at a Luka, but Kawhi is not healthy anymore. He and Paul George are not the same defenders they have been. Yeah, you could do Westbrook, but I don't think Westbrook's thick enough to handle Luka. You could just throw a bunch of different people at him. I just don't see if they're going to be able to do this with not a healthy Kawhi. Even though they're the home team, and you wonder how the Mavs are only the 5 seat with Luka and Kyrie having those years, which is a great question. The points per game, obviously, you see the Mavs at 118. Rebounds are about the same. Assists are about the same. Steals, one more game for obviously the Clips. Blocks are the same. Turnovers, the same. The Clips won the season series 2-1, and Mavs have the worst D. But like I said, the Clips are going to throw massive bodies at Luka and see what they could do. Harden, will you get 8.5 assists a game? Will he turn into playoff James Harden, where he's good for 3 out of 4 games, but the 4th game he's abysmal? Big difference here is the free throw percentage for the Clips. I think this is a dangerous spot for the Mavs, though. I say Mavs because of maybe the lack of knowledge of the health of Kawhi, but the Clippers can really stick it. So this is a dangerous series. Blocks per game between Lively and Gafford. This could be a problem. Lively is a good rim protector, and he's also a great finisher around the rim. He's had a hell of a rookie year here. He's been really exceptional. So I will go with the Mavs in 6, but I would not be surprised here with Clips in 7, because they can really shoot the hell out of the ball. It really depends on Kawhi's health, and we're not getting a lot of information here. I guess the coaches like to play possum in this situation, but we shall see. Timberwolves Suns, fascinating. I just don't like Karl Anthony Towns in playoffs. The Suns won 3 out of 3 in this situation, even though the Wolves had a 3 seed. It sure feels the other way around. Lots of turnovers by both teams. Both these teams did not take care of the ball. Both teams very much perimeter oriented. Like I said, Cat scares the hell out of me with that Suns perimeter. I don't know who the hell Cat's going to cover in this series. A lot of talk here in New York about the Knicks trying to get him. No freaking way. This guy's disappeared in the worst way. Can't cover me. He's a jump shooting 6'11", 7-foot guy. I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, KD could do that, but KD can handle. Cat can't. We do get to see probably the best future American-born player here in Edwards. So that's really exciting for the NBA as we get another pop-up here. Rebounds are basically the same. The assists, the steals, the blocks, turnovers, both teams are the highest in the playoffs. Another team shooting 49%, which is amazing. But the perimeter of Beal is incredible, along with obviously Booker and Durant. And Grayson Allen, 45% from 3-point line. By the way, you go back to that 2015 Final Four, you see the best 5 players out of that draft. Grayson Allen is definitely one of the better ones. 45%, just took a $70 million 4-year contract extension. Obviously deserves a little more than that, because we got guys making a lot more than that aren't as good as he is, but people try to focus on how dirty a player is, but you'd want him on your team, and he can shoot it. This series here, I just don't see a way that the Suns don't win this in 6. I'm rooting for the Wolves, get some fresh blood in there, and I love Edwards' energy. I just don't think with Rudy Gobert, and obviously Mike Conley's very steady, I just don't think Edwards has enough, and I just don't think that we're going to get enough help from Cat. We'll see what he does, and like I said, I got to hope Mike Conley has a good series and they can hang around a little bit, but Nurkic is not bad either. 11 rebounds a game for the Suns. He has to do the dirty work, but the Suns are just going to spread you out. Now, don't forget, when you rely so much on the perimeter as the Suns do, obviously they're vulnerable. Team that's shooting 81% from the free throw line. Suns in 6, although I'll be rooting for the Wolves themselves, obviously. We go back here, and this is what I was talking about. The Wembanyama really cost the Nuggets the 1 seed, and look at the route they have to take. The Lakers are going to be a lot tougher than people think. People yelling out sweep. I'll be very surprised if this is a sweep. with the Nuggets. Those are the 4 close games last year. And even though I can't stand LeBron, it reminded me of the 1983 finals where the Lakers were winning going into the fourth quarter in every game and got swept by the Sixers. That was painful because I'm a Magic Johnson guy. But those series are a lot closer than they appear. It's not like they're getting blown out every night. And the Lakers are a little bit pissed off. And if Reeves gives you something, and they got to get more out of Hachimura, and AD's got to step up a little bit and try to not, try to lock up Jokic away from the basket. No closer to the basket, he's not gonna be able to handle him. But he's got to at least take away the high post offense that they run. Problem is the Nuggets run a bunch of cutters at you. The problem for the Nuggets is going to be that bench, though. Um, the Nuggets won the season series 3-0. Great bigs. Murray had a historic run last year. The Nuggets bench is going to be the key. The Nuggets sweeping the Lakers, though. They're plus 27 on the 3-point line. And that's surprising because when you look at the 3-point percentage here, they're both at 37%, but yet the Nugs would get 9 more a game. And that's the passing of Joker. That's the high post offense that you can run that Malone does a great job with. You could post up Joker from the high post to the low post. And when they went zone last year, I told you that they were going to run him baseline here and telling it like it is. And they did it this next game and they carved him up. Both teams a little bit lower on the free throw shooting end of things. LeBron's had another solid season, 8.3 assists. Doesn't have any lift, getting back cut on defense like crazy the other night. Not the same guy. Perry Watson for the Nugs. We'll see if he steps up as a young player because the Nugs bench is the thing that scares you. They don't have Brown. They don't have Green. They do have the other Brown, but they're still missing some bench. And we're going to find out just how much that Watson and other guys want to step up in this playoff. And that's going to be the tricky part. Joker with 26, 9, and 12.4 rebounds is an insane average for the season. That's why I think Luka, though, is going to probably get it. Because, again, we're talking 39.8, 9.6 is even better. So this is going to be wacky to see who gets it. But Luka probably deserves it, even though his team is one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA right now. That we're going to have to try some zone. We'll see if Jason Kidd can move the needle here a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to have, Nugs in 7. I think this series could be tougher. I think if one team here gives away a game, obviously you can never get that back. It's like your bullpen giving one away in baseball, and people say get it back. You can't. It's that game's gone forever, and it usually winds up costing you a series. I just think the series is gonna be a lot tougher than they think. I think you got to get more, like I said, out of Reeves and Hachimura. D'Angelo Russell is as annoying a player as there is. He's just can't guard anybody and doesn't even attempt to, and talks a lot of smack for a guy that just doesn't make a lot of winning plays out there. But I got the Nugs, like I said, in 6 or 7. I'll be rooting for the Nugs, though. Like I said, it's hard to watch LeBron. It's just hey, watching the king of flop. Has no lift anymore, but still obviously a great player. Celtics Heat. The Celtics, obviously they get Holiday. I think he's perfect for this team. I was thinking if the Lakers had picked up Holiday, they would have gotten it done. The Celtics got an easier path. The Magic and the Cavs, I think it's going to be great when we get to them in a second. But I think their path is going to get them to this conference final in a lot easier way. And I just don't think the Knicks are going to be able to handle them. The Sixers, Embiid will be really banged up by then. Giannis might be healthy by then, but how healthy will he be? What's the healthiest Giannis you're going to get if he survives around 80%, 75%? It's all set up for the Celtics. We'll see if they deliver. I've got to see how Porzingis handles it. I'm just a little nervous about him. He's a little bit soft. I shouldn't say a little bit soft. The unicorn is 7'4" jump shooter. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I guess, but we'll see how he handles things. He did average 1.9 blocks a game, and I think that's what he could do for his team here. Tatum's got to step up, and Brown, is Derek White. There's enough weapons there. The Celtics, the number that jumps off the page here is the Celtics are averaging 120 a game. Pretty impressive. 4 more boards a game. Obviously, 3 more blocks a game, and this is where the Heat are just going to be too small. Now, Spoelstra can coach the hell out of any team, and they'll play zone and mix it up and make. And I'm sure the Celtics will have some self-doubt somewhere in there. But I do have the Celtics in 5 in this situation. Like I said, Jimmy will try to come back. I hope he doesn't, though. Tyler Hero and Jaime Jaquez will keep it going, and I guess they'll give you their best, but I just don't see how they're going to survive. I got Celtics in 5 going forward here. I give the Heat a game out of just total respect for them and what they do. I'll be rooting for the Heat to pull off an upset, but I don't think it's going to happen. Cavs Magic, fascinating. I don't think any series is affected more by game 1 than this series right here. I think this is the best because one of these franchises is going to get to the second round, and it's been a little while. So it's very exciting for the Cavs and the Magic. Cavs Magic went 2-2 during the season. Banchero's first time. Mobley and Banchero matchup is fascinating. Mobley last year was the reason I thought subtly that the Cavs lost to the Knicks. I thought Randall beat up Mobley, but Mobley going forward is one of the most talented and impactful players that nobody talks about because he's I don't know, he's not really a superstar. He's not really a marketable kid. Top defenses, top backcourt scoring. Mitchell's got a bit more than a volume shooter this playoff series. I think, Garland's tough. Obviously, they've added a lot to this team. But if you look at the inside the numbers here, well, Okoro's pretty solid. They're just that I think the Cavs are a very, very, very deep team. They got Allen. Allen is very tough. The Magic have some good pieces too. I just think that they're very young, and I think the year of getting whacked by the Cavs, by the Knicks, I think will benefit them. Like I said, the first game's going to be key here. I think that the Cavs probably would win in seven. But again, I'm rooting hard for the Magic. Like I said, I just think that, but I won't be disappointed if either team wins. I just don't like the board play here for the Magic. I got to see what Jared Allen and the other big fellas do. Mobley for the Cavs. I'm gonna see if Spider gets it done or not. But Banchero, I'll be rooting for hard. Really like him a lot. There's no real number that really jumps off at the page except the Cavs with the 4 more assists per game. Both teams on the lower end of the 3-point shooting. Both teams shooting very solid from the free throw line. Like I said, Cavs in 6 or 7 for me. Any of the predictions can go by the wayside if we get another injury here, of course. But you know how that goes. The NBA playoffs, as we've documented, it's a mess. Bucks Pacers. Doc Rivers almost drove off the road the other day. Someone says he's a top 15 coach all time. Almost hit into a tree. Doc Rivers is horrendous. This guy's on borrowed time. This guy is gagged up with many teams. They're winning games with coach earlier in the year. They're 30-13. Doc comes in, they go under 500. Everybody goes, "What's wrong with the Bucks? They don't play any defense." Well, you took away holidays like Dennis Johnson for Christ's sake, and you plugged in Damian Lillard, who Dame time can't guard me, and is not interested in playing defense. Middleton is not healthy. The lateral quickness is not there. The eye-popping number about the Pacers is they're shooting 50% for the year, almost 51%. If you round it up, it's 51%. That's really amazing. They play such a fast pace. The problem with them is so perimeter oriented. The rebounds the Bucks own, but like I said, no Giannis here. I got to go Pacers here. Assists 4 more a game. Bert Halliburton had a tremendous year. I guess he and Edwards are the next great American players coming up. I love the moves the Pacers made. Pascal Siakam is a great player, but I just don't think Lillard really fits this team. Brook Lopez is going to be popping out. Can Miles Turner pop out and go at him? Obviously, he should be able to do that. But again, 50%, both about 37% from three, both solid from the free throw line. I do like the Pacers here in 6 games. Unless Giannis comes back and is effective, you worry about that calf injury. You just think of Durant. I mean, it could be a different calf type situation, but you always get nervous. We think of those. I got to say Pacers in 6. I got them moving on, obviously. Sixers Knicks. Sixers Knicks here in New York. It's a lot of shouting about this one. A lot of Knicks fans feel like geez, they got disrespected. But you know what? Joel is grabbing his leg. He's like holding on. He's breathing heavy. Yeah, he hit 2 jumpers at the end of that game there, but if you crowd him, he's not hitting jumpers. Mitchell Robinson, the fellas have to try to take him out. Blocks the game. Precious Achiuwa. You got Robinson. Hopefully they can guard him. Maxi's the key here. Can Maxi even out Brunson? Maxi's one of the quickest players in the NBA. Can they keep him out of the paint? The numbers are a little bit different here. 2 points more per game for the Sixers, more rebounds for the Knicks. The steals and the blocks are in favor of the Sixers. The Sixers have one big advantage yet no one's really talking about. It's just the length on the perimeter between Tobias and Maxi and guys like Buddy Hield. They're a little longer than Hart, DiVincenzo, and Brunson. A little bit longer on that perimeter. And that sometimes can make a difference. Obviously, no Julius Randle. We knew about that. The Sixers shoot it at 83% from the free throw line. You saw that the other night versus the Heat. They're nailing free throws down the stretch. But again, can Joel play 36 minutes a night? I don't think he can. If you're the Knicks, you just got to push this tempo and hope your shots are falling. Of course, game to game, the NBA being so perimeter oriented. And by the way, getting back to a playoff theme here, you see more upsets in the playoffs now than ever before. Back in the day, the 1 was beating the 8 and the 2 was beating the 7 every time. And the reason today we see more upsets in recent years is because their reliance on the 3. It's become more than ever a 3-point make it, you take it league. It's a situation now where, yeah, you can overachieve during the season, but at the same time, the supreme effort that the Knicks play with every night make them legit. But here in the playoffs, everybody's giving supreme effort. So sometimes, yeah, those overachieving teams during the season that can come down to earth a little bit during the playoffs. But this would be a fascinating series. I do have the Knicks in 6 or 7. I think they're a better team. I just don't think Joel is healthy. I think if Joel was healthy, maybe you get a different result. But we're really excited here on Telling It Like It Is. We're very pumped up to see the playoffs. This is something that we really look forward to every year. We'll be back next week on Telling It Like It Is. Give us a listen on YouTube and Instagram and what else? We got Apple iTunes. We got everything. Just give us a listen. We'll have some fun on Spotify, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. We're looking forward to talking about this next week at this time. It's always so much fun. Talk to you soon. I'm Telling It Like It Is.